Sure, do that. A few days after witnessing those murders in Edo, the suspicious activity seemed to have quieted down. Since that night, Sana-san had been on his best behavior, never seeming to stray too far from the compounds. Either or. Knowing all of it could have been a ruse, however, we continued to monitor him discreetly. While in the middle of preparing some of the dishes for supper, I snuck a cursory glance towards Sanan-san.
Yukimura-kun, 私の顔に何かついていますか?
No, nothing like that.
体があるわけでもないのに、男の顔をチラチラと覗き見るのは感心しませんね。それとも何か気になることでもあるのでしょうか?
No, not really. I glanced over at Heisuke, hoping he would help me out of this awkward conversation.
こいつさ、きっと不安なんだよ。もしかしたら今日の飯が三男さんの口に合わねえんじゃねえかって。三男さんって舌が肥えてそうだろ。だからさ。
雪村くんが作る食事を口にするのはこれが初めてではありませんが。
まあそれはそうだけどさ。
Heisuke was doing his best to come up with a plausible excuse on the spot, but by virtue of either terrible improvisational skills, or the pressure of standing up to Sanan-san's intense scrutiny, Heisuke found it difficult to convince Sanan-san.
まあいいでしょう。それではいただきます。
Same here. Itadakimasu. First of all, before all of the other soldiers had departed for Kofu, the dining room was normally a lively scene, full of hungry warriors antsy after a long day of training. Eating dinner with everyone absent, save for myself, Heisuke, and Sanan-san, was silent to an unsettling degree.
腕を上げましたね、雪村くん。この菜の花のごま和えですよ。絶品です。
Thank you.
すっげえうまい。
Wait, that still says Keisuke-san. That's Heisuke talking. What the fuck?
新八さんも佐野さんも残念だったよな。こんなにうまいものを食えねえんだから。甲府に行ったみんなはちゃんと飯食ってんのかな。
Heisuke. That's Ichikata-san mentioned in his last conversation with both Heisuke and myself. Victory was not assured, and the campaign itself was becoming a bleak prospect to all of those in charge.
心配はいりませんよ。土方君はそういった手回しが得意ですからね。
まあそうだよな。あの人そういうところは手抜かりないし。今回は近藤さんが指揮を取るらしいから負け戦なんてさせるわけねえよな。千鶴、ご飯のおかわりいいか？
Please give me a second. I'll get some for you right away. I stood up and walked to the container of rice, and I scooped a large portion into his bowl. Having him enjoy his dinner enough to ask for seconds made all of the effort I put in the kitchen worth it. Here you go. There are plenty of servings left, so please don't hold back.
お、ありがとよ。
Heisuke lifted his chopsticks to fill his mouth with a fresh serving of rice, but then he stopped himself. It was sudden, as if he'd remembered something urgent. What's the matter?
いや、こうやって飯だけで腹を満たすことができれば楽なのになって思ってさ。あ、ごめん。別に変な意味はねえんだ。
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I'm sorry if my question made things a little weird. The awkward silence in the room was deafening, and just as we craved something to break it,
ごちそうさまです。私はそろそろ失礼しますよ。
so soon? There's more food if you like.
さすがにこれ以上は食べられませんよ。私は食が細いもので。
Sana-san gathered his dishes delicately and stood up from his seat. Oh, please leave it there. I'll be collecting and washing them later anyway, so right there is fine.
いえ、これくらいなら自分でできますよ。君はゆっくりくつろいでいてください。他の大使がいるところだと何かと気詰まりでしょうからね。お互いに。
Sana-san left the conversation at that, punctuating his point with a quiet exit from the room. As soon as his footsteps were out of earshot, I turned to Heisuke and whispered to him. Sana-san didn't seem to act any differently.
まあ、あの人は物事に動じねえたちだしな。俺たちが疑ってることも多分見抜いてるだろうし。
ああ。
さてと、ごちそうさま。俺全片付けてくる。
Oh no, let me. Why don't you get some sleep, Heisuke?
いいって。三男さんの様子を見てくるついでだし。お前はここで待っててくれ。よし。
Heisuke picked up a stack of plates and he left the dining room. I sat there patiently, twirling my hair playfully in my fingers before Heisuke returned to me. Welcome back. So, what was Sanon-san up to?
何か資料みてえなものを読んでたぜ。多分行動さんのところで見つけたやつじゃねえかな。
I see. You think that'll be enough to occupy him from going out tonight? Whether or not Sana-san had a hand in the Fury's murdering spree in Edo was something yet to be determined, but we could take solace that there would not be any murders tonight, assuming he was as busy within the headquarters as we expected.
どうだろうな。警戒しておくに越したことはねえんじゃねえ。
You have a point. Both of us let the subject of the conversation sink in, and from there a silence awkwardly hovered between us. The only sound around us was the busy chirps of insects. With more humidity and warmth came an influx of insects seeking refuge throughout our compound's vicinity.
なあ。
What is it, Heisuke?
お前こっちに戻ってきてからどこかに出かけたか？
No, not really. In fact, I think the only chance I've had to leave the compounds was joining you and Son to my home.
なんだよ。久しぶりの故郷なんだし、いろいろ見に行ってくればいいじゃないか。
But what is there to do?
この間瓦版で読んだんだけどさ、浅草の花屋敷ってとこすげえらしいぞ。花がいっぱいあるんだってさ。
Hanayashiki in Asakusa.
お前そういうの好きだろ？
I'm quite fond of flowers actually.
浅草なら近くに芝居小屋もあるし、大使の誰かに頼んで連れてってもらえばいいんじゃね？
That sounds lovely and all, but why do I have to ask one of the other warriors? Why can't you take me, Heisuke?
俺は
Heisuke's wide, tender eyes suddenly turned forlorn. After a moment, he laughed derisively.
バカだな。行けるわけねえだろ。俺夜しか出歩けねえし。
Heisuke, what words of comfort could I offer him? Well, the guide says, you're the only person I want to go with, Heisuke. The only person I'd go with is you, Heisuke. The Hana Kayashiki, the theater, none of that would be as fun with anyone else. There's no way I'd allow myself to partake in all of that fun, knowing you'd be back at the compounds by yourself.
しずる。そんなこと言ったってどうしようもねえだろ。俺だってお前と一緒に。
Heisuke immediately stopped himself mid-sentence, his voice trailing off before staring at the ground. This would be floor instead. God damn it.
いや、なんでもね。
His tone became cold and he tightened his fist. This conversation must have struck a nerve, and it seemed Heisuke hadn't wanted it to continue. Yet again, the room became silent, apart from the insect chirping outside of the dining room's window.
俺さ、あと何回こうやって夜を過ごすことができるんだろうな。
Heisuke possessed an innocence that was slowly giving way to the burden of his gloomy predicament. Back then, he was so warm and jovial. All of that was beginning to slip away, which only tugged at my heartstrings with each passing day. I'm sure there are so many. Just look at Sanan-san. It's been 3 years since he's become a Fury. And he's doing just fine. Even if they say that using your powers shortens your lifespan, then maybe it won't shorten as much as you think, Heisuke.
そうだといいけどな。
At last he seemed to relax, and his lips curled into a timid grin. I wasn't sure if Heisuke was genuinely accepting my optimistic outlook or just humoring me. I wanted so badly for him to understand, but I acknowledged that all I could offer him were shallow words of encouragement. No matter how hard I tried, the source of his anguish was foreign to me. Okay. I gazed longingly at the stars scattered across the view from the window, and I made a wish. Please, don't let this night end so soon. The sun, the battlefield, or the passage of time itself. I just wish that the things that took Heisuke away from me were no longer an issue. That life would start to give more often than I'd like to take. That life would start to give more often than it liked to take.